Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And today we're going to be taking a look at the new Scourge Wielder Masayuki, who is an interesting character. The video is coming out a bit late because I had to figure out a few things about him that I wasn't really sure of, so I had to test him a little bit. So, apologies for his showcase being a day later than normal. But he is light, he's on Scourge Wielder, Dungeon Crawler Tournament Stalwart Adventurer with a sword. He is a damage character, so he is doing the damage for you, not a support ult or anything. His first skill applies chaos to everyone, and that effectively is burn damage. Whereas with burn, if you hit people with fire attacks, then the burn will do more damage. Chaos is doing that same thing, both light and dark attacks that will do additional damage. They can stack, so you can have like 2 stacks of Nightbreaker on, and so instead of doing 12.5, it'll do 25% damage. And then also, if you hit a light or dark character specifically, it will do actual weakness damage instead of just normal like baseline damage. He also applies light and dark attributes to everyone on the team, which means that everyone can play into the whole chaos gimmick, which is cool. His second skill is the thing that I need to test. He's got the AoE state on orange orbs for 3 turns, which I guess is cool, especially on an orange team. Not really the most impactful thing. But also, he's got the light and dark attack for all allies 120% for 3 turns. Now this is a bit interesting, because I thought that light and dark attack would play into his gimmick up here, where he gives everyone the light and dark attribute. Sadly, it does not. It only affects characters who are naturally light or dark. So him, Warrior's Mind Blanc, or Gobwa. But if you want to do like Tournament Stalwart Lumi or Warrior's Mind Violet, who are not light or dark naturally, this will not apply to them, unfortunately. His trait, if you have dupes of him, is Protection Gauge every 2 turns, which is really, really good. And I think he's going to be a fairly solid character, so let's test him out. Alright, so we're going to start with this team. So we've got the new Omizia, the free-to-play Kigali, Masayuki, Soka, Warrior's Mind Blanc, and then Danmachi Shuna, because I think we can do some funny things with Masayuki's Chaos gimmick. So we're going to go into Inferno 1 because they have a decent amount of HP, and we're just going to showcase Masayuki doing damage and giving his support to people. And also, I do want to show off how his light buff doesn't actually affect people who are not already light or dark. So, first off, Kigali will convert turn 1. You could bring Warrior's Mind Violet if you have her, but I'm assuming maybe some of you don't. But we have her in the first slot, which means that we have the 3 orbs right here that are only Kigali's, which we can then convert using hers, because it's Scourge Wielder orbs, into oranges. And boom, there we go. And then we're going to bring Masayuki in for Blanc, and we're going to bring Soka in for Kigali herself. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. These are single target orbs, obviously, but when we use Masayuki's power skill, like his light and dark buff, we're going to get AoEs on orange orbs. So we could take out Soka now. We don't need her up front for really anything until we want to nuke. So let's bring Blanc in for her. And then we could use Omizia to convert everything to oranges, but also I should have used a few skills beforehand because she would have reset them. That's fine. But we're going to buff those oranges now, and then we're going to apply the Chaos gimmick here. So you can see this is up here now. It just says Chaos on it. 12.5% damage. Alright, well, let's see what happens when we send this against her. So we are now acting like a light or dark character. You can see that Blanc, apply light attack, apply dark attack. Masayuki is already light, but then Shuna also has apply light, apply dark. So now when we hit Guy, we're hitting as a light or dark character, which means that the Chaos stack will actually do more damage to him. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We're also hitting weak point. Super weak point because Masayuki is physical, Shuna is not. But we're now type advantage, and then the Chaos for 42,000 damage. So, yeah, okay, that's pretty strong. Could it be stronger? Yeah, it definitely could. So, what I want to do on the next run, or right here, is I want to showcase that Shuna is not doing a whole lot of damage even if we apply the light or dark attack. Even though she's going to, again, be acting like a light or dark character right here. So her damage as a support alt is not going to be super great. She's going to hit like she's a light character. That's going to have type advantage. But we're not going to get that extra light or dark attack, unfortunately. And that's just because she's not a light or dark character. But now Masayuki has the AoEs on orange orbs. So let's go ahead and convert those blues to oranges. That way, now when we hit, we're hitting everybody, and we have multiple stacks of the chaos gimmick. And what could be really funny is if we do the multi-skill here, boom, and then we just do it again. 35 points. Oh, and you know what? Let's do it again. So, oh, it can only do 2. Oh. Really? Chaos damage 12.5, chaos damage 37.5. Why is this number higher? Also, why am I not getting more stacks of chaos even though I used it multiple times? Okay, well, let's just see. So this is Shuna acting like a light character, and she does 9,000 damage. Congrats. Masayuki, gonna do a bit more than that. I don't think he's gonna kill, because we only have the one buff going for us. But we can at least get his ult animation here. And it's pretty funny. He just, since it's Kirito's VA, all I hear is just Kirito screaming at me when I have the sound on. And he does 1.7 million damage, 100k on the AoE, because they're now AoEs, 225k on that AoE, because Masayuki's light, and boom. And then the control, or the chaos for 2 million damage. Like, that's a lot of damage right there. Because it's the 37 plus the 12, so we're getting quite a bit. But looks like, yeah, we can only stack it twice. That I didn't know, but now it's up to 37.5. So what happens if we apply it again? Is it gonna go up from 37.5 now? I actually don't know. I didn't test that part of his skill last night. So let's apply this chaos, and is it back to 12? It is back to 12. Okay, so this number goes up the more damage and more times you hit as a light or dark character. So it starts at 12.5, goes up to 37.5 on the second turn. Interesting. I didn't realize that's how it works, so we're all learning something today now, aren't we? But let's go ahead and use Kigali, and we will alt swap Masayuki away. That way we can get his EX alt. His light and dark attack are still around for this turn and next turn because it's a 3-turn buff, so that's really, really good. Let's go ahead and buff the oranges again, and then we'll continue to send these orbs. We're still hitting in an AoE format, so 97k, 76k, boom, 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 lots of synergy right there. And now we're going to get some more of the chaos damage to kick in. 985,000 damage, which is pretty good for a 15-point skill that you just use twice and call it a day. So that's really, really cool. I think that skill can be used in a number of scenarios as follow-up extra damage in case you really need that to hit. And since Masayuki is going to make everyone hit like a light or dark character when they're weak to light or dark, it's going to be pretty impactful. But let's use the big time Blanc buff now, and then we'll bring in Soka for the synergy, and then we can go ahead and safely nuke here. So boom, boom. We do want to apply another stack of the chaos just for funsies. So let's go ahead and reset him down. Elmezia resets by 1 level each time. So now Masayuki should be back down to 35 points? Alright, cool, that works. Boom. Okay. So now when we ult, Masayuki's going to do a butt-ton more damage. 9 million damage. Actually, not as much damage as I was thinking. Okay. Blanc, 4.8 million. Soka, single target, so that's not a big deal. Then we got the follow-up orbs from Blanc, who is a dark character, so she's getting that extra dark attack. And then dead to chaos, dead to chaos, dead to chaos. 7 million damage. So that really does add up very, very quickly. Like, that is the beginning phases of Reckoning kind of damage right there. That is much easier to apply. It is still a body and spirit skill, which if those are sealed, you can't use Masayuki's skill at all. But it can add a lot of extra damage onto that, as you just saw. Alright, next up, since the beatdown battle is being rerun, the Antagonist meta. Also light focus with a protector that gives extra damage against dark. And we have a light nuking character in Shinsha, who is on the Force. Masayuki, very clearly not on Antagonist, so he's going to be in a supporting role here with the 120% light or dark attack, which Shinsha is light, so she will actually get that buff. But we can also make Cleash, Isis, and Kyoko act like light/dark characters. I mean, Kyoko's already dark, so that's fine. But that means that we can give type advantage to all of their normal attacks here. And, okay. Connection failed. Let's jump in. I mean, this stage, because it's only EX2, it's not very difficult, so we do not need nearly this amount of power. Like, Cleash is here as a free-to-play character. We could take out Ice and Kyoko, and we wouldn't need all of their damage. But this is a good testing because we have a different light character who is going to receive the light buff. And with the extra damage, I mean, this stage only has 400-something, 500k HP. Like, they could probably die to 2 stacks of the Chaos gimmick, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. So, it can help you clear out some very early, easy stages just by being available. If the enemies clear their own status effects, then obviously that's going to go away, which is kind of a downside, but we can still make it work. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alright, cool. Now we can get Emils, get a full hand of orange again, and we've got 2 Shinsha orbs. We didn't bring Blanc, so we're not going to get the EX ult, but honestly, we don't need the EX ult here. So, ult resistance down, physical defense down, not a big deal. Let's apply the gimmick here. Boom. Chaos. And then Emils can convert and give us the rainbow as well. Boom, boom. Excellent. Leaves us with 73 points. So let's go ahead and do the AoE buff here. And let's see if we can just straight up kill them. Because now everyone's going to be hitting like a light character. So everyone's going to have type advantage for at least these attacks. And we're going to play into the Chaos gimmick again. And since they don't have a lot of HP, they might actually die? I don't know. Oh yeah, they're going to die here. We don't even have to nuke. Boom. And then... oh, damn. Not quite. Okay, if we had 2 stacks, then we would have done that. But we already have the light-dark buff, so we don't need to do much else here except use a few different things from Cleash and Kyoko now. So we can take Masayuki out. We don't need his gimmick because Shinsha's already a light character. So boom, and boom, and boom. Well... Alright, so we're gonna be... do we want the Drago? Or do we want... we don't have enough points for it anyways. Let's just do the Drago then. So ult damage up, pierce resistance down, ult resistance down, magic resistance down, and then we can just nuke here, and we're gonna do way too much damage with Shinsha because they don't have a lot of HP. This isn't Inferno or Dire level. If it was, that'd be a little bit better because we'd have a better place to test this damage out. And we could use some other people. But Predator Bloom, and Shinsha does 1.7 million damage. Okay. Yeah, is it great damage nowadays? No. But it's certainly enough to kill EX2 stage difficulty. And we certainly didn't need 1.7 million because they were down to like 250k. So we did see the AoE gimmick come into play on oranges. We did see the Chaos gimmick kind of do some additional follow-up damage, but not enough to kill. Obviously, they didn't have 30 million, so we couldn't see like 7 million Chaos damage. But buffing a light character, there are a number of light characters. We're going to use another one here soon, and I think it's going to work out pretty well. Okay, so obviously, if we're going to give a light or dark buff, the main character we should be giving a dark buff to is Warrior's Mind Blanc. So we're going to go back into Inferno 1 beatdown battle with Shuna, Masayuki, Gobwa, Violet, Blanc, and then we brought Benimaru for the physical buff. This probably would actually work a little bit better if we had Elmuzia instead of Shuna, but we're going to use Shuna anyways because her rerun is going, and this is going to work fairly well, I believe. And because Gobwa, if we use enough debuffs, can get up to 120 pierce resistance down, that will overcome the enemy's like 75%. And because Blanc is dark, we're going to get the dark buff, right? So I think if we play our skills correctly, then we could probably just murderize this stage. So let's bring Blanc in for Masayuki, and then Violet in for Benimaru. We'll Rainbow convert. The only orb that isn't going to get converted is Gobwa's, which is fine. It's one orb here. So right now we're hitting like we're type neutral. That's going to change once we get to turn 5 and we use the Masayuki gimmick. But I do want to get Blanc's ult here. There we go. So that works out pretty well. So what we're going to do is we are going to Rainbow convert again. We're going to use the orange buff. Boom. Boom. We have 2 orbs for Gobbo, which Shuna is going to convert. Let's do a control stack here. Yeah. And then we'll do the debuffs just to get Gobbo's Pierce going a little bit. And then Shuna will convert those last 2 Gobbo orbs. And now we have a full hand plus the Violet ult, which I guess we could have swapped out for this other Blanc and we would actually get more damage out of it, but it's fine. That's enough to get us a double stack and quite a few points and the EX ult for Blanc, and that's the most important thing. Actually, what I want to really do is I want to bring Benimaru in for Gobwa next turn, so we can give the physical buff to Blanc. Yeah, we'll do that. Benimaru, also a dark character, also will get the dark buff from Masayuki, so that's pretty cool. So 124 points. This means that this turn, on turn 3, we could get the buff with Benimaru active, and then we could swap Blanc out for Masayuki and use his dark buff because it's going to hit the back line. And then we just need to reapply control on turn 4. And a few more debuffs here to get Gobwa a bit closer to being maxed out. So let's do physical buff. Boom. We don't need to worry about the ult resistance down because we're going to get that covered with control stacks anyways. So you can get out of here. We don't need to use her buff again quite yet. But let's do this. Boom. And I think we can actually use this skill because it's going to hold the Chaos gimmick or the attribute on Blanc in the back. So yeah, let's do that now. Boom. And then we'll bring Gobwa in for Benimaru. That way we get the full hand of oranges. Get another stack of the debuffs. Get us closer. So yeah, we only need one more, which is now this. So the Pierce Resistance debuff is now covered. It's maxed out. So that's looking pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Everyone is acting like a light and dark character now. Everyone's going to be doing an AoE hit. This will be pretty good. 98k, 139k, 54k, 120 something k. Alright, so we're pretty set up now. The only thing we have to do is apply control, and then Blanc's big time debuff and Gobwa's Pierce skill on turn 5. So we just need to build up some points here. So let's do control again. That way it's active for next turn. We'll bring Blanc in for Gobwa, use her orange buff and her skill points, and then we'll send her away. That way we can hold on to everything that we've been holding on to, and we'll be okay. So Shuna, yeah, I think this is going to go pretty well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And plus we'll have another Violet ult, I think, next turn for extra weakness strike, because we're actually going to be a light character, quote unquote. 1.9 million damage, decent. 59k, alright. Benimaru still had the gimmick on. 435k. And then boom, and then Masayuki's final 200% orb. Should do okay damage here. Unless we crit. And then there's 520,000 damage of chaos. Alright. So as long as no one dies, we should be okay. Alright, 173. Is that enough to do everything that I want? Yes. Okay, it is. So, let's take... I think we'll leave Masayuki in just in case. We'll bring in Gobwa for Benimaru. use her Pierce skill, because now it's maxed out 120. So we're actually going to benefit off of that, unless they increased it, which I gotta check. And then we'll bring Blanc in for Gobwa. Unfortunately, we no longer have the Chaos gimmick. And I don't think we have enough. Yeah, we don't have enough. We're 2 points shy. Are you kidding me right now? Oh man, that would have been great extra damage in case we don't actually kill here. But it is what it is. No, I want to use this skill. What am I talking? Why do I want more control stacks? Alright, let's do that. Alright, and then we'll convert everything to oranges and rainbows. So, this should do quite a bit of damage. Will it actually kill? I'm not entirely sure, but we've got the Dark Plus damage down. The Pierce resistance now is up to 204%, which is vastly overpowering the 75% Pierce resistance that they have. So, I think we should be good. 1, 2, 3, and then Masayuki can follow up just in case. So Violet does 250k. Blanc, now that she's a light character, does 7.6 million damage, 5.4 on the other side. So, yeah. Worked out pretty well when we have type advantage and we're nuking with fucking Blanc, right? So, that is pretty good. I think Masayuki is going to be a really good character. There's a lot of dark characters. There's a lot of light characters. Like I said, he's going to be really good on the Frieren team. Himmel was already stacking element damage, but giving Frieren or Fern another 120%, while giving oranges the multi-hit state, or the AoE state, is going to be pretty impactful. And then you'll also have the chaos damage to kick in case Frieren somehow doesn't kill. You're going to get a lot of that excess damage. So Masayuki, I think, is good. I think he's a bit held back, and I did find out that they have this note in-game, where skills that apply attributes to attacks. The second bullet, enhancement and weakening effects such as attribute attack and attribute resistance only apply to the main and not the applied. So this is why only true light or dark characters benefit from Masayuki's 120% buff, not the applied attribute, where if you're wind and you get Masayuki's gimmick, you're acting like a light dark, but you're not actually getting the light dark buff. So there's the answer in game for that. They kind of hid it away. But overall, I think Masayuki is fairly good, especially since he also has a protection trait on turn 2. So I would rate him fairly high. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Do you think he's as good as I'm saying? Are you a bit turned off by the fact that this doesn't apply to everyone when this does? Let me know your thoughts. But that's it from me. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.